Hello and welcome back to another casted game on the Age of Bison YouTube channel. Once again, joining you, I'm Sir Shark Dad, joined by Platypus Slayer. How's it going, my friend?
Going good. Excited for the game two of this best of five.
Yes. So once again, we in this series are seeing Vindian face off against Dunamai. On Saxony, we got Dutch. Dunamai playing the Dutch, and then we have Aztecs being played by Vindian. Last game, we saw Spain versus India, and Dunamai was able to come out on top with some proper micro and a very interesting build order, and I would expect that this game is equally as entertaining. So what are you generally thinking? I would kind of anticipate that Dutch, you want to knock them off their base. You don't want them to get those banks up. Pause game coming in here, so it gives us a chance to kind of talk a little bit. You want them to rush and hopefully throw the Dutch off, but Dutch are difficult. They turtle really well, and if you know your timings, then really hard to push over. What do you think?
Yeah, I think definitely the onus is on the Aztecs to do early damage. You're not going to beat Banks, but there are two advantages that Aztecs have. First off, Dutch are pretty limited in what they can pull off, and they're a bit slow in the early game, right? Banks do take a lot of food and wood, which basically sticks their unit comps to Huss, skirms, and bits of pikes here and there if they want to be able to get their Banks down. The other thing to consider is that there's some really good natives on this map, and there's really good trade routes. So just sitting in your base might not cut it. I mean, it looks like what are the two royal houses that we have?
House of
Hanover,
Hanover and Wetton.
Wetton. So we might see Crossier in a non-French matchup.
Interesting.
Mm.
I'm not too
And
familiar
this
with
is
the
a
royal houses, but I think one of these get the royal huntsman, I believe.
Hanover gets a first they get the kind of like pseudo halfway between a Hussar and Ulan, I guess closer to an Ulan with the death charge attack that it has to wind up. Then there is the I believe musketeer type unit that they get as well. The Royal Huntsman's House of Vasa, I believe, or no, it's one of the Sweden-based ones. I don't think it's Vasa, but it's
Okay.
something similar.
I
That
think
is
you're
Oldenburg.
probably right. Yeah, yeah, I think you're right.
God, testing my knowledge here. I did not come prepared.
Well, one of the things to talk about with Saxony is this right here, right? You got three, you got 3 points of access really going across this river crossing. There we go. I'm pausing from Vindian, and that's going to make some interesting gameplay. I want to say that weighs it in the Dutch advantage. It kind of prevents you can get those crossings. You know exactly where they're coming from, but it works both ways. And when those fights are breaking out in the mid to late game, so
Exactly. If Indian's able to build a war hut on the other side of the river, he has incredible threat projection. Where the Dutch now have to go all the way around to do any sort of counter raid. So it works both ways. Whoever takes the river crossing is probably going to have an advantage for most of the game.
let's take this fog of war on. Not much of the map has been scouted on the Vindian side. Trying to get around, see if he can see what he sees. Plague Doctor, he converted and got the Dutch envoy going to work. See what Dunamai sees, just basically on his side, considering that screening the Aztec player, but just I mean I would send that envoy forward, see what you got, and there he goes, getting some action on the Plague Doctor, getting 100 food. That's going to be pretty huge for this age up time. 14 vil age up.
Yeah,
I believe that's pretty standard.
correct. Not to mention, for the Dutch in particular, having extra food allows them to get that bank out soon. And something else to consider. I don't know if it'll be a factor, but treasure guardians are really good on this map, and Aztecs explorers can convert them. So we might see quite the kind of early army that you would not expect.
Oh yeah, winning in age 1 is definitely a thing at this higher elo play. But talking about higher elo play, I love this. When you're starting with Dutch, you leave those wood crates out. Don't gather them because you're saving those precious villager seconds. You get enough for the house, and then you save a little bit, and that's going to give him extra time to either put that market down or start with the bank. And there he goes. He seems to be macroing 8-5. But then
Yep,
no, he's going for the
yep.
goes to the market. Just like I said, that you want to usually start with the market because that conversion rate with the coin allows you to really change up your macro and get those units out. Really helps a lot. Let's go back to
But
the
do you see
Vindian
it?
side.
Vindian's got the war hut though across the river.
The
He's
warrior.
aging up with the warrior. But if you look right across the river, crossing the central one, there's a war hut.
Amazing. Already up.
Yep.
And he scouts that. He's got to see that at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dunamai sees that. His Explorer may be going down to the Eagle Scout here. Already an aggressive play. Like we said, he wants to keep him off of his toes. I wonder how he's going to respond to this. Let's take a look.
Yeah, let's take a look at their decks too before the action gets too heavy. I'm curious what Vindian's deck. So, this is a pretty standard. Yeah, this almost looks like a build that Garja did, but it's even more heavy in the H2 and H3 play. This is definitely, but he's not macroing coin. That's kind of interesting.
Not at all. He's probably going to just be fully committed to, I believe, the Coyote Runner.
Is that a forward plaza?
Also interesting. Probably wonder what kind of dance he's going to do. Let's go ahead and take a look over at the Dunamai side. Let's see what kind of interesting. I have not really seen a Dutch deck like this. A lot of H2 really expecting to go defensive. Got the gather rates on the coin mine. 700 wood coming in because you definitely want to get those banks down, but he has not put a bank down. Oh, here's the walls. Interesting. Barrack coming up.
Something else to note too, there's no unit shipments for him though in H2, so if something happens, he's got nothing to bail him out. He's got the 2 frontier outposts though.
Well, think about it. Exactly what unit shipments did the Dutch really have at their disposal in H2? 3 Hussar, a pike shipment, and that's pretty much it.
Have multipliers versus the Coyotes, because Coyotes are essentially unhorsed cavalry. That could be a game changer if you need it, but we'll see what Vindian does here. Like I said, he seems to be macroing more for food and wood. Oh, chest of 600 coin.
Coming in, okay, interesting. Maybe this is going to be I don't know, can the community plaza be a economic shipment point?
Well, what it can do is it can spawn warriors infinitely. Even though it's been nerfed a bit, when you're under the radius of the opponent's TC, you lose more health. Having infinite guys that shoot is one of the most obnoxious maneuvers in the game, and the Aztecs excel at this. So, not to mention, if he pushes his forward point, he now has a infinite militia stream that can come popping out. So he's probably right now doing a warrior priest boom. Can we see what dance he's on?
He's still considering the experience points.
Just XP.
Interesting, and there's the 3 warrior priests already being sent in. And some extra Eagle Scouts. But what you're going to be seeing here is definitely a committed turtle. I mean, very quickly he already got the 2 banks up, and I would imagine he's not sitting in the bank wagon card. Instead, he's going for the 2 frontiers. Really tight base going on right here. I'm curious to see where he's going to place these. And still just keeping it close to the vest. It's going to be interesting going forward into the game. I'm wondering if he's going to do some sort of interesting sort of H3 pop. I remember it must have been a year or 2 ago on the Aussie Drongo channel where he was showcasing a build much like this one where there was a huge military pop after defeating a Russian rush. I wonder if that's going to be something similar to this.
I'm not quite sure, and I'm not sure what Vindian's doing either, although it looks like he's macroing for age 3. I don't know if does he have the the calendar card to reduce age up time?
No. The Kamikaze card, it would be an age 1, I believe, and not the case in this deck. And Warrior Priests are still going and still just doing the experience points dance. You got the Toten Slinger coming out, probably going to get this Vil. Let's see what
Oh, he could have gotten closer.
All right,
yeah,
just
like
a pop a Puma Spearman and
yep.
some Skull Knights from the Warrior Age up. Probably will get this bank. The siege is incredible on just this small mass.
Well, it's the Skull Knights in particular. I believe their siege is like 72.
Yep. One bank going down is painful enough. Toten Slinger is just coming right into the middle of this base, and still more Puma Spearmen. Now, whether he breaks
Spearmen
the
also have really high siege, even though they're pikes. So, we've got some skirms finally out, but it might be too little too late. I believe that bank will go down.
I don't think so. Oh, my goodness.
Have?
Very little. 297. Outposts are still just going to work. More skirms coming out. I wonder what he's going to plan to do with this military reforms card, because it's not like he went with the Logistician Age up to get the early H2 halberdiers.
And I don't know if you speak French, because that was Uncle Suyu or something. 84 HP. Oh my goodness. Oh, poor Vindian. His heart has got to be sinking. I think
those Eagle Scouts are still just trying their best. 69 health. Oh my goodness. Now the question is, does he have the wood to repair it? 177, 100. Let's see if he gets that repair in, and the bank wagon card coming out, and still another shipment that he's sitting on. Let's see how Vindian's going to respond to that initial push. A couple of Tonton Slingers and a few more Puma Spearmen. Not going to be enough to really break this base. He's got 21 Vills up against 21 on the other side.
Yeah, but Dutch have banks. He does not.
Dutch have the banks, and so each of those are going to be considered probably around 4 or 5 Vills. Maybe I'm underestimating them, honestly.
Here comes the repair.
There it is, then the bank wagon card coming in. This is very impressive for me as somebody who mains Dutch for the most part, I would say. I'm very impressed by just this ring of concrete and wood that Dunamai has been able to set up. And
is Dunamai sending advanced market?
honestly, not a bad idea considering how much Dutch players use the market to rebalance, because the coin gathering is going to be so much higher. And he doesn't have a single settler on coin. But that coin gather rate's going to be higher. Usually you have a few of these guys on coin because they have a higher base coin gather rate than the usual settler, and that's a better exchange rate, would help a lot. Nothing but skirms. I mean, you would think, oh, this is not a good composition. You know that he's going to come in with the coyotes, but man, the outposts are going to do work. Market upgrades coming in. Let's go switch back over to the Vindian side, just still kind of massing up. What do you do if you're Vindian? You're like, okay, initial push kind of failed, couldn't get that bank down. Do I just try again, just try to get in there? Or you're like, you know what, I have to try and get an Aztec boom going with the warrior priest, because I know that as I keep ticking away at the time, the Dutch are just getting stronger and stronger.
Exactly. And now Dunamai, he has a pretty commanding lead. Let's see here. What can Aztecs do? For starters, he's got this forward fire pit, but he hasn't really done anything with it. I mean, his dance is just for XP. He is switching over, though, to coyote runners. I think that is the right call. I almost wonder going to age 3 and letting him turtle and then getting arrow knights might have been the right call here.
Yeah, I would agree. 4 banks now. Usually you wouldn't see Dutch commit to 5th bank in age 2. It seems a bit too greedy, but who knows? And again, this is an infinite frontier defense card. He could send another 2 if he felt like it, and forget it. Your push is as good as dead. Age 2, Aztecs just simply don't have the siege necessary, especially now he's missing those skull knights.
Yeah. The Ontogens are not going to get enough siege. The Pumas do. Oh, look, he's got a coyote flank. Oh,
Coyote flank coming in. Frontier defense is still going to work. Settlers getting in on the action. I think he's just going to be committed to getting this bank down.
I think that's a clean, though. That is an absolute wipe. Oh, he's got pikes now. Good timing. Man, Dunamai with his game sense. He's doing damage, and this is exactly what he needed to do. Just damage.
And then being popped out as well. There's
he
the
gets
bank.
the bank.
630 XP swinging for the Aztecs.
Yep, he said hi, and now he's leaving for the holidays. He's getting the hell out of there, and I think
Even
that is
more
the right
coyote
move
running
there.
coming in. He's probably going to commit to this H2 push. I don't see any other way around it, and I wonder if Dunamai is going to have the game sense to kind of know that he's going to need a lot more pike than what he currently has. Nothing else being produced. Here comes more Coyote Runner. I think he's kind of showing his hand maybe a little bit too early.
I think so. I think he wanted to get this wipe. But again, the longer the game goes, the longer that bank difference is going to make up. At 25 Vils for Dunamai, how much for Aztec?
26.
26. So, slight advantage, but...
More Puma Spearmen, even
Oh,
more
and
Coyote
you almost
Runner.
get... kind of fun fact. So your warrior priests do count as military. He almost pulled his warrior priest forward. If you do a select all military button, it
I
will
didn't know
take.
that.
Yes, and it is ruined the dreams of many an Aztec main, I think, throughout the years.
I don't know. What's the play from Dunamai? Well, we see the play from Dunamai. Sergeant at Arms coming out, and there's the military reforms card. So the commitment to the Halberdier play, I'm very curious as to how this is going to go. I've actually seen this on the ladder a couple of times where people are starting to use the Halberdier pop with the military reforms quite deadly.
It's always been kind of one of those back pocket plays that Dutch do. I mean, Dutch don't exactly have the most extensive roster of units, right? So
Correct.
being able to buff their specific units, such as the halberdiers, just throws people for a loop because nobody expects them until it's too late. Ooh,
Oh, and the barracks going down. I'm surprised he did not repair that, but he still got that fourth bank back up, and that's going to be a huge score swing and still commanding a slight lead here. And Vindian just kind of massing up. He's got the javelins coming in with the card. You know, they're not going to have as much siege either. It's going to be difficult. And the skirmishers with the range units. And there it goes. The warrior priest getting pulled up again. But I think he's trying to healing up a little bit. I don't know if it's worth it, but
yeah, I don't know what Vindian's going to do against Falconets though. He is going to really struggle into that if he does not get up in time. Although he could build a Noble's Hut, I believe, with that first card. If we select the Explorer card real fast in this, from his deck, is that possible?
Let me see.
Yes. Oh, but it's only Jaguar Prowl Knights. That's correct. And those things will die a horrible death to skirm, so...
Oh, and a huge mass from Vindian coming in right now. He needs to pull these halbs back. I mean, if he can get on top of the Coyote Runners, good for him, but those javelins would probably rip them apart. But then again, these are veteran halberdiers, very strong units, but like I said, they're going to be torn apart by this mass. But he needs to buy himself some time, I think, just because this is going to be quite difficult to hold.
Yeah, when you're up against Dutch, you definitely want to take their market, because you know, even though he did the advanced market, that coin eco has to turn into something.
Oh, look at these halbs still going to work on the back line. More halbs coming out of the barracks in a second.
He's
3
trapped.
for 3.
I think Vindian's in a world of hurt right now. Now he's trapped.
Settlers getting in on the action once again. I love to see Settlers fight. You know, these are upgraded Settlers with the great coats and the blunderbuss coming in. A little bit tankier. And look at that. Huge wipe. He cannot break this mass. And you may be right. He may need to go ahead and start the switch. But it's going to be difficult because these halberdiers, once they pop, 36 siege attack. That war hut will definitely go down if he decides to counterattack. Taunton Slingers trying to hold what they can. Great cheap unit, but...
Well, again,
Vindian.
Maybe Vindian's just stressed or something, but it seems like he's not using his war pit, the community plaza in 2022 to get out these units. I mean, he could have been building free units this entire time. Those warriors, they have decent stats, and every shot going for a warrior denies XP because they don't count for anything like a Minuteman. It also it's just a shot that's not going towards your troops you paid resources for. So.
But it is a rapidly decaying health bar, and it would be difficult from those warriors just to walk from the war hut or the community plaza over to the base of Dunamai, losing quite a bit of health, but definitely a potential strategy there. But now with the 600 coin coming in on the TC, we can expect to see a transition from Vindian at this point. But the question is, Dunamai doubling down advanced frontier defenses. Oh, this is the toxic build that we've been waiting for out of the Dutch. Commanding map control here. More outposts coming through. I may have to copy this deck for myself, and still not even setting in those economic upgrades at all. It's just gathering away. Just 30 settlers up against Vindian's 36.
Look how fast they are too. They're what speed?
And those military reforms, they get right on top of them so fast. Oh, what a great card. Very underestimated in this meta, and look at that.
Melting.
Catching right up to the light infantry. What does it matter right when you get on top of them despite the counter? The sweep of the halberdier is so strong.
This is, yeah. He's pulling warrior pre. Nothing can run as fast as these halbs.
Let's see the movement speed.
It's 5.10 right now. That is, if you're not Cav, you're in deep trouble.
Explorer going down here. Halbs don't even care. They're just going to go ahead and just start throwing those torches, and he's fully dedicated to the Halb play. And exactly what do you do? I mean, now you got these extra frontier outposts coming up, and he's sitting on 31, and he's got to look at that 8K score lead pulling out. Insane.
Well, Vindian's almost an age 3, so he's still got a chance. Now, is he going to keep that plaza there? Oh, see, I would have kept it there, because then he can't rebuild it, although I suppose he could delete it. Vindian's got to get something going.
Coming in, 9 Jaguar Plower Knights being sent in. You know Vindian's going to hold on. He's going to fight it out. He's going to need some extra military production, and I think those 17 vills
are
going to respond.
In the south, it looks like the war hut's been spotted.
There it goes. as quick as it was built.
Yep.
They're going down some of those skirms. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Dunamai side once again. 32 Vils. The 2 in production, and Church coming down with the stable, and I think you're going to start to see that. Maybe some...
Blue Guard, Huss. I mean, at this point, if you're Dunamai, all you're doing is trying not to throw.
Commanding lead. What do you do if you're Dunamai? You just go ahead and press that advantage. You must see that score lead and say, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and right-click the base. What do you think?
I don't know if I'd right-click the base, but I would basically do what he's doing now. Taking my time, further extending my lead. Oh, he found Vils. Oh, good God.
And 27. Look how fast these guys are. That's so scary. These armored juggernauts with their halbs just blazing out. And look how fast they are. It's almost illegal. Look at that.
I know. Oh, 2 go down. I mean, good job for Vindian to be so quick to react.
What are these? And honestly, the Jaguar Prowler Knights up against these halbs. I don't know. Look at that. Look at the siege. Insane.
There we go, though. These, if that town center doesn't go down, look at that. Yeah, he needs to be popping his warriors. I don't know why he's not. Yeah, these Jaguars probably should hold.
Look at this attack moving on the part of Dunamai. Very impressive, funneling them in.
But you know what, Vindian, he's not making more, is he? He could be making more Prowl Knights right now.
Call back his Explorer just now. He's floating quite a bit of res right here. 1,500 food.
Those Prowl Knights. I mean, it's weak in Dunamai, but you're still not out of the fryer. You know what I mean?
Not at all. See, look at the warriors coming out. But he's just going to go ahead and right-click those warrior priests. Oh.
And it's looking grim. It's looking real grim for Vindian. I mean, he's
down to 28. Dunamai 34. Wondering if he's got another mass coming this way to see if he can finish this off. Oh, look at all the warrior priests going down, and the H4 insult to injury with the Tycoon. He didn't really care about this mass at this point. He was just macroed for age up at that point.
Yep, and Vindian's going to try to hold on, but you know, it's Dunamai's game to throw now. I mean, Vindian's done a good job, all things considered. He just not panicked. He's got back in. But when you're Aztecs, I really think against that turtle, he took too long trying to break that turtle shell.
Just focusing on that one bank. And the funny thing is that the Dutch, you know, it's so great because the temptation is to end your opponent quick. You want to fight. And here's another push from some halberdier. You want to win, you know. But the thing is, he did such a great job playing to the Civ's strengths. Same thing with Vindian, but he did not. He was fine to let the game go. He was fine to sit back in the base, just send in the outpost card, not get aggressive, not really make too many units, get that H3 in, and then he popped out. And he just played to Dutch's strength. He just knew he needed to buy time, and now we have a 10k score lead that we're looking at, and now H4 versus H3. Advanced Arsenal coming in.
Do they get guard halberdiers or something fancy? What are their guard units? Reuters and...
Reuter and... I do believe that...
It's like Stadwich or something weird, right? If McCleaves was here, he would let us know.
Yes,
yeah.
that's
what... I was right. And here we go. I get the feeling this is the GG coming in here. Those Eel Runner Knights. Boy, your micro better be tricky, Vindian.
Took out that Hussar. More Coyote Runners coming out, but they're still H2 Coyote Runners. And let's see, 31 Vils up against Dunamai's 35. But consider the almighty banks. Four of them, I believe. Let's take a look. Yep. Rough stuff. 2 factories coming in. He was sitting on those 2 shipments. Let's see what's going on the Vindian side. More Jaguar Prowler Knights coming in. Now, I believe these Jaguar Prowler Knights, right? They counter heavy infantry. Isn't that right?
Correct. All heavy infantry and a bit of cav as well.
So that's probably the right play, but skirms would just tear them up. Score lead evening out at 10k. Still, he was able to... I'm surprised he was still able to maintain his villager count, so kudos to him. But again, Dutch now have both trade posts on their side of the river, and again, just content to sit back and just watch. I mean, 2 factories coming in. He doesn't have to do anything, honestly. He could just wait for the heavy cannon to roll up and win the game for him.
Yep, and like I said, this is Dunamai's to when you're in a commanding position. don't throw it. You know what I mean? That's the secret.
Got a huge mass coming here, and I believe his halbs are over here. There it goes. Let's see. Let's see some action. He's got those settlers right there. Oh my. These haven't even been upgraded yet.
I mean, he's doing good. He's fighting, but I mean, at this point, Dunamai, he's just like, go ahead, kill my halbs, do the best. He's still microed him too. What a flex.
He needs to be careful with these settlers here on the other side of the river.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look back at the Vindian side. Score lead is still just kind of widening. TC has not been repaired. You can just right-click it at any time. And suddenly a GG call, just throwing it in, just saying, you know what, probably looked at the scoreboard and said, no thank you.
I think so. That was what a tough match. What do you do sometimes, right?
Yeah, perhaps an overcommitment there on the bank. I thought that he maybe had it, and it was just so close, and he didn't. And, I'm not even entirely sure.
I think he could have pushed a tiny bit earlier, and I think he could have pivoted to 3 once he saw the towers out. I also think his fire pit, you can do a lot of just absolute cheeky bullshit with that fire pit as Aztecs. You can spam the free units. You can boom off the warrior priest a little bit sooner. You can heal up your mass, and you can also, if you have the right card, I think either Calmanac or the calendar card, you can get to ages quicker and cheaper. I mean, God, I've gotten to Imperial Age for under 600 res as Aztecs before. I mean, it's tough. I think he had a good idea, just like kind of like the last game in a way. Just the tiniest of mistakes slowly snowballed.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And even with a commanding lead, I mean, still look how compact and tight this base that he built. I mean, just really impressive stuff, just coming into the game and saying, I can take all the time I need. I'm going to sit right here. Banks are going to serve as the wall. Wall was immediately coming up. Those frontier outposts were immediately up. And he just held, and just a proper Minuteman pop there. I mean, let's take a look at the post game. I mean, we can see, most likely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at that. Vindian.
And with nothing. I mean, he held with less than, 15, 20, 10 units, and Vindian had a commanding lead, and there we go, with the halberdiers coming out and just commanding. I mean, he lost that mass, but, I mean, Vindian had absolutely nothing to respond with. I mean, we can look at resources. Just a commanding resource lead that just skyrocketed there in the late game, as Dutch are wont to do.
It's the bank spank, just taken right off. And Vindian, meanwhile, plateaued. I mean, it's tough. He had a good idea, but when you rush, you have to be... Rushing is harder in this game than holding. And when you rush, you actually have to be so on point. Because, you're in the opponent's base. The opponent's always going to be a little bit quicker. So you have to really punish greed, and you have to punish the opponent's build, and you have to know when to back off and keep your mass alive. I think that bank on the left is what cost him. He could have gone for the barracks first, right? Deleting his ability to defend.
The market.
And then he could
market early, take it out from the Dutch is
maybe
good.
A house, and then back up. You know what I mean? Back up. Maybe run some coyote raids through from time to time to keep him idle. And macro up to 3, get to 3, get arrow knights, and then laugh at his buildings. But it wasn't able to go down, unfortunately. And now Vindian's looking at his first elimination game.
Yeah. In previous tournaments, Vindian has never faced an elimination game, and Dunamai just kind of was able to just be there to counter whatever the pick was, Spain and now Dutch. So hats off to these gentlemen. Fantastic games on each side. I think this really kind of showcases, a lot of different strategies that can be employed, and both of these guys played their heart out, so kudos to them. And once again, we want to just thank our audience for joining us here at the Age of Bison YouTube channel. If you enjoy these casted games, you like what we do here and the content that we're putting out, please feel free to leave a like and comment and subscribe. Just support really helps with the traction, and we hope to see you guys for the next game. Thank you.
Thank you.